Hello learners, I welcome you all to the third segment of lecture 31. So in the last few videos, we looked at the factual matrix of Chemtrara versus Canada, and then in the last video, which was a major contention of Chemtrara, that is violation of Article 1105 that we discussed, and we'd seen that the tribunal refused to accept Chemtrara's contention and decided that there was no violation of Article 1105. So in this video, we'll firstly look at the MFN clause and then we'll move ahead to expropriation. The Chemtrara also claimed a violation of the MFN clause, which was Article 1103. So Chemtrara used the MFN clause in order to borrow a favorable FET provision from the other treaties that Canada had concluded. It referred to 16 BITs that were signed by Canada, which contained a favorable FET clause, then Article 1105, which was tied to minimum standard of treatment. So that is what Chemtrara had claimed. So what Canada did was, Canada stated that if Chemtrara is invoking Article 1103, then it has to prove the presence of the elements that are present in Article 1103. First, Chemtrara has to prove that a treatment was so accorded, and second, it has to prove that the treatment affected the investment, either expansion, acquisition, or management of the investment. And thirdly, that there were other industries in like circumstances. Then it has to prove that the treatment accorded was less favorable. So the elements that are present in Article 1103 had to be proved as well. Moreover, Canada stated that this was a measure that was taken pursuant to a non-discriminatory measure and all of that. Because it stated that these elements of Article 1103 has to be proved, and then Canada stated that the FET clause is very limited to the minimum standard of treatment, and Canada also stated that if you see the treaties that Canada had signed post its signing of NAFTA, and in all those treaties also FET clause is actually limited to minimum standard of treatment. This was a contention of Canada. So then the tribunal also stated that Chemtrara did not specify which provision, which FET clause that it finds to afford more favorable treatment than what the content of Article 1105 as well, because it referred to 16 BITs, but it didn't say which content. So the tribunal stated that even if it accepts a claim under Article 1103, which is MFN clause, its tribunal stated that the outcome will not be any different, because earlier itself it had stated that there was no violation of Article 1105. So then this is how the tribunal decided the question of invoking MFN clause. It stated that even if Article 1103, the claim of Article 1103 is accepted by the tribunal, the outcome is not going to be different. Then with regard to the second other contention of violation of Article 1110, that is expropriation provision, Chemtrara stated that when Canada had cancelled its Linden registration, so that had affected its economic profitability, and to such an extent that it amounted to expropriation as well. To this, Canada stated that Chemtrara's Linden-based product sales is only a minor part of its entire operations. It only has 10% of sales of entire Chemtrara's operation, the Linden product sales. So it's only a minor part, and at no point Canada was in control of the investment, and that Canada had actually taken a very non-discriminatory, legitimate regulatory measure in exercise of police power that Canada has. So there was no substantial deprivation. Canada was never in control of the investment. Canada has in fact approved the alternatives to Linden even before the Linden ban was in force, and Canada also stated that a voluntary phasing out option was given to them to sell a phasing out option was also given to Chemtrara to sell the existing stock. That was also given, and then Chemtrara was also still an economically profitable company. That was also highlighted by Canada, saying that Chemtrara is still an economically profitable company. So this is no expropriation in that case. The tribunal also looked at the fact that Lindane-based product sales was only a minor part of the entire operations of Chemutra Canada, which was the investment of Chemutra Corporation of US in Canada. So then it stated that there is no expropriation here. Because it's only a minor part, and then the tribunal accepted the contention of Canada and found that there was no expropriation, since all the claims were all the claims of Chemutra were rejected. The tribunal in fact ordered Chemutra to pay 50% of the cost of Canada, and also it had asked Chemutra to bear the arbitration cost as well. 50% of legal cost of Canada had to be borne by Chemutra as well as the arbitration cost. So we could see that the tribunal had rejected all claims of Chemutra here. I mean, in a way, this is a case which upheld the regulatory scope of a regulatory body of Canada. So that is, the regulatory power of Canada was in fact upheld in this case. So it's one of the case that was, this very few cases have been decided in favor of the host state, and after Methanex is a very significant victory for host state. Chemutra versus Canada is also, we can consider it to be a case that where the tribunal has asserted the regulatory power, especially in the context of an environmental and a public health measure. So that is how this case was decided. With this, I'll conclude lecture number 31. So in the next lecture, we will also look at one other case where an environmental measure was involved. Thank you.